If you've got any patch of dirt, any pot, any raised bed sitting there right now, what I'm about to tell you is worth more than anything you'd buy at a garden center. Most people think planting season ends in spring. That's wrong, completely wrong. And the very first thing on this list has an actual deadline. Miss it by a couple weeks and you don't get a second chance this year. 15 vegetables, counting down, and number 15 is the one you genuinely cannot wait on. I used to think the same thing everybody else thinks. Spring is for planting, summer is for watching stuff grow, fall is for cleanup. Then a neighbor, older guy, been gardening since before I was born, looked at my half-empty beds in July and just said, "You're done already?" I didn't even understand the question. Turns out, by quitting in July, I was leaving an entire second harvest on the table. Not a small one either. We're talking months of extra food just sitting there, unused, because I assumed the season was basically over. It's not over. It's barely halfway. If you want more of this kind of stuff, the sub button's free. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps more than you'd think. So, here's 15 vegetables you can still get in the ground right now, starting with the one that's already on the clock. Number 15, Brussels sprouts. And yeah, this is the deadline one. Brussels sprouts need somewhere around 80 to 100 days to mature, and they actually want to finish growing in cool fall weather. The flavor genuinely improves after a light frost. That means you have to count backward from your area's first expected frost date. Miss the July window, and the plant simply runs out of time before the cold sets in. There's no rushing it, no second attempt later in the season. This is the one mistake that actually cost you the entire crop, not just a smaller harvest. I planted mine a little late one year, early August instead of July, figuring a couple weeks wouldn't matter much. It mattered. Small, loose, bitter sprouts that never filled out properly before the hard frost hit. The next year, planted on time, in July, like I should have done the first time. Watched the sprouts size up slowly through September, then October. After the first frost hit, completely different vegetable. Sweet, dense, nothing like the disappointing batch from the year before. That's the deadline. That's the one you genuinely can't push back on. Everything else on this list still has some wiggle room. This one doesn't. Number 14, Daikon radish. Bigger, milder cousin of the regular radish, and it genuinely wants a longer, cool finish, which makes it almost perfectly suited to a July start that matures into fall. It grows long, sometimes a foot or more underground, which means you actually want loose, deep soil without rocks or hard clay in the way, or you end up with a forked, twisted mess instead of a clean root. I underestimated how big these get the first time, pulled one out expecting something radish-sized. Got something closer to a baseball bat, had to use both hands. Texture's crisper than the regular radish, milder flavor too. Works well pickled, which is honestly the best way I've found to use a sudden surplus of giant radishes. Number 13, scallions. Fast, low effort, and you can keep cutting from the same row repeatedly through fall without replanting much at all. Most people buy these at the store and never think to grow their own, assuming there's some trick to it. There isn't. Stick the seeds or starts in loose soil, keep them watered, and trim the tops as needed. I started a short row in a gap I didn't know what else to do with, maybe 2 feet of space I had left over after planting everything else. Forgot about it for a while, came back and it had filled in completely, way denser than I expected from such a small spot. Small effort, steady payoff. Not every crop on this list needs to be dramatic to be worth doing. Number 12, collard greens. Tougher than they look. Genuinely shrugs off heat that would wreck most other greens, and it'll keep going right through a frost without much complaint at all. This is one of those crops where the hidden reason it works is just, it's built different. It doesn't bolt the way lettuce or spinach does. It just keeps producing leaves. I planted a row in July mostly as an experiment, figuring it'd struggle in the heat like everything else around it. Didn't struggle at all. Outlasted nearly every other green in that bed, including stuff I expected to do way better. Sometimes the boring, unglamorous plant is just the most reliable one in the whole garden. Number 11, turnips. Genuinely underrated.
Fast-growing root crop, and like beets and carrots, the fall maturing batch ends up sweeter than the spring one. The leaves are edible too. Cook up similar to mustard greens, slightly sharp, holds up well in a quick sauté. Most people only know turnips from the grocery store version, which honestly doesn't do them justice. Homegrown, harvested young, the texture is completely different, crisper, less of that heavy, almost waxy texture store-bought ones get from sitting around. I almost didn't include these on a list like this because they feel old-fashioned. Then I remembered how fast they actually grow and how little space they need and figured, yeah, they earn the spot. Number 10. Arugula. Quick grower, peppery bite, and like most leafy greens, it wants to bolt the second it gets too hot and too dry. The trick that actually works is shade cloth, or just tucking the row behind something taller that blocks the harshest afternoon sun. Cuts the bolting risk down significantly without you doing much else. I stuck a row of this behind my tomato plants almost by accident, just because that's where there was space. Turned out to be the exact right move. Tomatoes blocked the worst of the afternoon sun. Arugula stayed productive way longer than the unprotected row I had out in full exposure. Wasn't a plan, just got lucky with the layout. Number 8. New Zealand spinach. This one isn't actual spinach, and that's exactly the point. Real spinach bolts almost instantly in July heat. It's just not built for it. New Zealand spinach looks and cooks similarly, but actually thrives in warm conditions where regular spinach gives up within days. Most gardeners have never even heard of this plant, which is wild considering it solves the exact problem regular spinach causes every summer. It sprawls more like a low ground cover than an upright plant. Kind of takes over a section if you let it, but you can just keep pinching leaves off the tips as it spreads. I planted this almost as a backup option, not expecting much. Ended up being one of the only greens still going strong by August when everything else had quit. Number 8. Swiss chard. Chard barely notices summer heat, and a July sowing gives you a plant that'll often survive a light frost or two before finally giving up for the year. Cut it down to a couple inches above the soil, and it pushes new growth back within a week. I've done that on the same plants multiple times in one season without replanting anything. The colorful stem varieties, red, yellow, white, look almost ornamental, which is funny because people genuinely ask if it's decorative before I tell them it's dinner. Number 7. Kale. Plant it now and it'll still be producing well after most of your garden has gone quiet for the year. Here's the part that genuinely surprised me the first time. Kale tastes noticeably sweeter after a light frost. Something about the plant converting starches into sugar to protect itself from the cold. So a July-planted kale isn't just still alive in November. It's actually better in November than it was in September. I left a row standing through an early frost just to test this, half expecting mush. Came out the next morning, picked a leaf, ate it raw like an idiot in my driveway. Sweeter. Genuinely sweeter. Wasn't expecting that to actually be true.
Number 6. Beets. Same logic as carrots, but beets are a little more forgiving about germination. What people don't realize is beets actually prefer maturing in the cooler back half of the season. A July sowing puts the bulk of their growth right into September and October, which is exactly the temperature range where they size up best and sweeten up, the same way carrots do. You also get the greens as a second food off the same plant. Most people pull those leaves and toss them. I did too, for longer than I want to admit. Tasted like spinach's slightly earthier cousin once I actually tried cooking them. Wish I'd known that years earlier. Number 5. Carrots. This is where most people quietly fail without realizing why. Carrot seeds are tiny, and the soil surface dries out fast in July heat. They germinate poorly if that top inch of soil crusts over even once during sprouting. The fix is almost annoyingly simple. Cover the seeded row with a thin layer of damp burlap or board until you see sprouts, then pull it off. Keeps the surface moist without you babysitting it every 2 hours. I lost 2 entire rows before I figured this out. Just bare dirt, baking, nothing coming up. Felt like the seeds had vanished. Third attempt, board on top, checked it daily, full germination, every single row. And the bonus? Carrots that mature into cooler fall weather actually turn out sweeter than the ones rushed through spring heat. Number 3. Cucumbers. Here's the thing nobody tells you. A July-planted cucumber often outproduces a May-planted one. Why? Cucumber beetles and powdery mildew peak earlier in the season. Plant later, and your vines miss the worst of that pressure entirely, growing into a cleaner window with less disease stress. I learned this by accident, not by planning it. My spring cucumbers got hammered by mildew in June. Looked awful. Yellowing leaves, white dusty spots everywhere. The July batch I planted, almost out of spite, barely touched, outproduced the spring vines by what felt like double. Honestly, still annoyed about that. Number 2. Radishes. Easiest one on this list, no contest. 25 days, that's it. Some varieties even less. The mistake people make is thinking radishes are a spring-only thing. They're not. They just hate one specific condition: dry, compacted soil and peak heat. That's what makes them split or turn woody and bitter. Keep them evenly moist, give them loose soil, and July radishes come out just as clean as the spring batch. I tossed a row of these into a gap where I just pulled some bolted lettuce. Didn't even prep the soil much. 26 days later, there they were. Almost felt like cheating. Number 1. Bush beans. And this is the one I'm ending on for a reason. These genuinely love the heat. Not tolerate it, love it. July soil is already warm, which means faster germination than you'd get in cooler spring dirt. Seeds that might take 10, 12 days in April can pop in 5 or 6 now. The hidden reason people skip them in summer is they think beans are a one-and-done spring crop. They're not. A July planting gives you beans clear through September, sometimes into October depending on your zone. I had 4 plants going in a corner I almost didn't bother replanting. Picked off them every 2 or 3 days for almost a month. Didn't expect that kind of output from something I basically threw in as an afterthought. Out of everything on this list, this is the one with zero excuse to skip. No deadline pressure like Brussels sprouts, no tricky germination like carrots, just seeds, warm dirt, and water. If you plant nothing else from this list, plant these.
So that's the list. 15 vegetables, starting with one real deadline and ending with the easiest possible win. July isn't the end of your garden. It's basically the start of round 2. And most of what's still ahead of you matures into cooler weather, which means better flavor, fewer pests, and less of that brutal peak summer stress on the plants. The whole planting season is over thing, that's just not true. That's a belief that costs people months of harvest every single year, mine included, for longer than I want to admit. Right now, while you've got beds clearing out from spring crops, that's your window. Not next month, not eventually, now, while the soil's still warm and there's still enough season left to actually finish what you plant. So, tell me, out of these 15, which one are you actually going to plant this week? And if you want to see exactly how I keep all of this watered without standing out there with a hose every single day, that's a whole different video, and it's coming up next.